what we can't wait to see with Week 15 here. We've already seen plenty of things we don't like, the postponement of 3 games. But the games will be played, as far as we know. And what I know now is it's time to talk about the things we can't wait to see. Myles, you're up first.
Okay, I mentioned it in the last segment when I was talking about Ben Roethlisberger, but honestly, I think this Tennessee-Pittsburgh matchup is going to be one of the best of the weekend. At least it really should be. I mean, these are two pretty heavyweight teams in the AFC, and I love the way that Mike Vrabel has had those players competing throughout the course of the year. I mean, even though it was 20-0 last week over the Jacksonville Jaguars, that defense was dominant, right? You don't get a shutout victory over anybody in this league without being dominant. And I think they can kind of go in there and do that against Pittsburgh, but Pittsburgh's defense is also quite good, right? And so when they're playing at home and when they've got the crowd behind them and they start playing renegade in the fourth quarter, I can see Ryan Tannehill throwing an interception or getting sacked, fumbled, and then there's a big defensive play and they got those stupid towels going around and around and around. It's just like you were saying, Mike, it's one of those things where it's a program victory. Right? It's a culture victory. That's what the Steelers do. And I think that they're going to be able to win. But I do think that Tennessee is going to go up there and compete.
You keep mentioning the stupid towels, and I have to take the brunt of that. He's a Browns fan, folks, and he doesn't mean they're stupid towels. That's just what a Browns fan is required contractually to say in order to be allowed to be a Browns fan. All right, I'm going to stay in that division.
Christmas, Mike.
That's right. Stupid towels. But I'm fine with that. I just don't want the people thinking that I co-signed. I do not think the towels are stupid. I have 2 of them alone up in the vicinity of this studio. Will Lamar Jackson play, and will it matter? I don't believe he will play, but the real question is, will it even make a difference with a banged-up ankle that if he is able to play, it's not going to be he's 100% healthy and he's running around like he always does, and even when he is healthy, the offense isn't good. The Packers' defense has been great. They've got Aaron Rodgers, who is reaching for the brass ring of the 1 seed in the NFC. I don't think it's going to matter. I think that's a factor. If you're the Ravens, do we really increase our chances of winning this game if we put Lamar Jackson at risk with a bad ankle? We're better off saving him for the last 3 games, rolling the dice with Tyler Huntley and seeing if he can make a difference. But I just can't wait to see how the Ravens handle that and whether or not they are able to be competitive with a great team like the Packers, whether it's Lamar Jackson or Tyler Huntley. All right, you're up next, Myles.
One thing I would say about Huntley, too, is the last 2 times he's played, he's not had the benefit of a full week of practice, and he does this week. And I think that can make a difference for him. But another thing that I think I'm really looking forward to seeing is Teddy Bridgewater against the Cincinnati defense. I think, if you look at what has happened with Carolina and how they moved on from Teddy Bridgewater, and now Teddy Bridgewater in Denver, I think he's played pretty well over the course of the season. He's got 18 touchdowns, 7 picks. He's completing about 68% of his passes. Hasn't really had a signature game, but if the Broncos are not mere pretenders but actually contenders, then this is a game where Teddy Bridgewater can step up, make the throws that he needs to make a couple more special throws when he's got all those darn good weapons outside there for him. And, we start to really think about the Broncos with not just their defense, but also their offense as a team that can make the playoffs and maybe surprise a team if they get there.
And, there's a perception out there that the Broncos are going to go elsewhere after the season at quarterback, and everything they're doing well makes them attractive to an Aaron Rodgers or whatever. If Teddy Bridgewater takes his team to the playoffs, what do you do next year? I don't know. I really don't know. It gives you great leverage for any trade discussions because you can say, we're just going to keep trying to build with what we have. Teddy Bridgewater's still relatively young, even though he's been around since 2014. Still relatively young, got a lot of football left in him, and if they get to the playoffs this year with him, there's an argument to be made for continuity next year and sticking with Bridgewater. I want to see if Dak Prescott can bust out of his slump. Now, he says it's not a slump. Jerry Jones says, I wouldn't call it a slump, but that's a fair word to use. So, if you call it a slump, I'm not going to come punch you in the face, basically. I'm not going to say you're wrong. I'm just not going to use that word because I'm paying the guy $40 million a year. Can he break out of whatever it is that he is in? Because you look at the first 6 games, statistically, the last 6 games, statistically, after he injured his calf and missed the Halloween game against the Vikings. Big difference in the performance of Dak Prescott. He's got to get back on the right track if this team wants to be successful in the postseason. We know we're going to get there, but what are we going to get when they get there? A lot of it depends upon what Dak does final 4 games, Myles.
Yeah, and he says he's fully healthy, but we will see. I mean, whether it's a slump or not, he's got to perform better over the last few games. All right, my own last one.
Hang on. This is the Shereen Williams rule. If you're not injured, then you just stink. That she's applied that to Baker Mayfield.
That's true.
She's applied it to others. She's got to apply it to her quarterback. If you're not injured, then you just stink.
Yes, well, no, you're right. That is the Shereen Williams rule. I like that one. All right, so my last one, can't wait to see if the Dolphins are going to get to 500. I mean, I can't believe really that the Dolphins might get to 500 here at 7-7. Right now they're 6-7 and they're taking on the Jets. We were just talking about, well, do we think that the Jets and Giants can combine score 20 points? I don't know if the Jets are going to be able to score more than 10 because the Dolphins defense has played very, very well. And Tua Tagovailoa has also been quite good over the last few games. I think that he's taking the steps forward that he needs to. Now, does that mean that Miami's not going to be in the quarterback derby over the offseason? I don't think that I've seen that much to make me say that, but I think from the standpoint of you started 1-7 and now you have a chance to get to 500, says a lot about Brian Flores and the way that this coaching staff has kept this team together and the way that they're still competing.
I agree, and it'll be fantastic if they get there. And remember, alternate reality, it almost came to be. If just 4 of the 22 plaintiffs had not said no to a settlement, all 22 cases would have been settled, and the Dolphins would have traded for Deshaun Watson. And maybe they'd be on the brink of going to 7-7, but I don't think so. It's great what they've been able to do the past few games, and eliminating the Deshaun Watson distraction, I think, had a lot to do with it. I want to see if Tommy can beat the Saints. He hasn't beaten the Saints in the regular season since he joined the Buccaneers. Yeah, he won the game that mattered in the playoffs last year. But this is important because here we are, 10-3 Bucks, 10-3 Cardinals, 10-3 Packers. Somebody's getting that bye. I think that's why I don't like the 1 bye per conference generally, but boy, I like it in this situation where you got 1 seat and you got 3 that are vying for it. The Bucks need this win badly on Sunday night, Myles.
They do, and they're going against the team that's not going to have its head coach, right? And I think that could certainly affect things just from the standpoint of the way the game is managed. So can Tom Brady go in there and get it? I think he can.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.